Feeling a different vibe for the podcast today, Sheri.
Okay.
Are you feeling it?
I don't know.
You and I have had to deal with a week full of extended family drama that we're not ready to talk about yet. That's not going to be the subject of our conversation. But it has left me with no fucks left to give, like our axe-wielding compatriot in Echoes of Recovery, who shall remain nameless, but all of our listeners from that group know who I'm talking about. I am so envious of her I don't give a fuck attitude. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's bad podcast karma to drop 3 fuck bombs in the first minute of the episode.
I would think so. Some people might just...
A new listener might be like, I don't think so.
It's crass.
But you know what? I don't care. It's been rough. It's been rough around these parts. So yeah, different vibe. I'm just going to let it all hang out. Speaking of letting it all hang out, at the preschool where you work, just coming out of Halloween, there was someone wearing last year's skeleton costume who came out of the bathroom, didn't quite fit anymore, and the tip of his penis was hanging out the top of his pajama bottoms, right?
Yeah. You gotta love being that oblivious that you don't even notice the tip of your penis is out of your waistband.
I'm trying to think.
So low and so small, but you were so determined to wear them.
Have you ever had something hanging out and you didn't realize it? I mean, I guess for you that would be like slipping a nip, like the old Seinfeld episode.
No, I think I've been full coverage and could tell. I mean,
you're not like borderline. You don't walk around in a string bikini very often. You're not like almost.
I don't think I've ever owned a string bikini. In fact, I think the last time I had a bikini, I didn't even have anything to worry about slipping out.
When we were newly together, I used to waste money at Victoria's Secret buying you things with snap crotch that you'd never ever even consider wearing. You used to be like, oh, thank you, and then it would go in the bottom of the drawer.
Trash.
Oh, I thought it went in the drawer. It went straight into the trash. Let me file this in the cylindrical filing cabinet we have over here. So you've never slipped a nip?
No.
Has the penis ever stuck out of your pajama bottoms?
No. My penis has always stayed well intact.
Yeah. I would like to claim that penis control has been an issue, like, hanging out the bottom of my shorts or something. But that's not.
I have a story for you off of the podcast. I have a story for you off of the podcast.
Oh, and off the podcast story.
Off of the podcast story.
I get caught scratching my nuts from time to time. That's embarrassing, but no. Sadly, nothing's ever hanging out. Isn't that funny how our different perspectives? That'd be bragging rights if I was hanging out, but nope.
Well, his butt crack was also showing most of the day, too.
Unless
I pulled his underwear up over his butt crack. They were that small.
Just too small.
Wearing
your underwear's on the outside when
your underwear are bigger than your pants.
Sheri, we had a writing prompt this week in our Echoes of Recovery think tank that I want to talk a little bit about because I loved it so much. I didn't love the prompt. I mean, I made up the prompt. It was okay. Felt good about it. But what one of our writers did with the prompt was so cool. The prompt itself was, I love this about me, even if no one else understands. Right? Get you a little introspection, give you a chance to be unique, get a little self-confidence boost from the things about you that are different from the things about other people. That's where my mindset was when I came up with that prompt. But this particular writer, her name is Jennifer. She gave me permission, first name only. Since there's 10 zillion Jennifers in the world, that's not a problem. Mm-hmm. Her name is Jennifer, and she twisted the prompt to be, I hate this about me, even if no one else understands. And then she made a long list of things that she didn't like about herself. But when she read it back to us, she switched it back and said, I love this about me. Mm-hmm. It was so cool. I loved it so much. Among the things on her list of things she hates about herself, I just want to highlight a couple of them. One of them was she said that she said that she loves the fact that she doesn't set out her clothes, she doesn't lay out her clothes the night before work, and she doesn't make her bed in the morning, and she doesn't pack her lunch. And this is obviously something that she's insecure about because she feels she's read it in a book or heard it on a podcast, those freaking rambling podcast people listen to all the time. She heard on a podcast that this is the key to organization. This is the key to a better life. And she should do these 3 things. But she doesn't. And so she wrote about them from the place of insecurity and then read it back from a place of self-love and said, I love this about me. I don't set out my clothes. I don't make my bed and I don't make lunch. I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of a gal. I just go with it. And you know what? It always works out and I'm fine. I do show up with clothes on for work. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here.
Nothing hanging out.
Nothing hanging out over the top of my year-old skeleton costume. Wasn't that cool? Am I making too much of this? I thought it was really cool.
No, I love that too. I love that you love that also.
Yeah. Well, she's very creative and inventive. She doesn't ever give herself enough credit for how creative she is.
Well, I think it's just a really good exercise to maybe think about the things that you have self-doubt about and turn it around and say, well, just because I'm a little different in this regard compared to maybe my friends or my partner, it doesn't mean I have to be feeling insecure and hated about myself.
That's right.
So
I mean, I did it. After that, I took her twisting of my prompt and I did it myself. And I made a little list of things that are unique about me that I definitely, in points of low self-confidence, have had a ton of insecurity around. Like one of them, a good example for this purpose is, so I drive how many years old? A 14-year-old Jeep Wrangler now. And the top on it, I know we've got some Jeep Wrangler owners out there. The top is very difficult to put up, especially when it's cold. It like shrinks in cold.
And also, we live in a dry climate that probably has made it more brittle.
Right.
than
brittle too.
More huge.
Brittle is hard, but the cold is the big thing. Like the tip of that Jeep Wrangler's penis is never going to stick out on a cold day. Like, let's just put that. There is shrinkage. And getting that damn top up is such a pain in the ass when it's cold. Plus, my fingers are freezing. So, everything about it is awful. So I just don't do it.
So, but wait, most people put it up before it's cold.
Most people are smart enough to read the weather.
Okay.
Weather forecasts are amazingly accurate these days. We still joke about, never right. No, they're pretty right pretty much all the time. And I never pay attention and don't care. And so I find myself freezing temperatures quite often in the winter with the top down. Well, I mean, I don't even try now. I never put it up. So it snows on me. I just drive around. I blast the heater. Thank God that heater's good. I am confident I am going to die on the side of the road the day the heating block goes out in my car because I can't get the top up and it's just over. But anyway, I drive around heating blasting, and I get all kinds of looks like, what is wrong with you? You need to be checked into a facility.
Weirdo.
There is something the matter. And early in the winter.
Wait.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about not having the top up is when you have to leave it parked out on the street in the fall or the spring. And there are those little
the bud things,
the bud things
tips
in the spring that happen. And
because trees, their tips are sticking out in the spring.
I wish I wouldn't have told you that story. The leaves in the fall though are the best. In autumn, all I see you drive away and it's like somebody's got a leaf blower. They're all flying out the back.
Yes. So
swirling around.
So there's that. There's the cold in the winter. It's all stuff that you could be pretty insecure about and feel like an idiot about. But you know what? Thanks to Jennifer and this changed writing prompt, instead of I hate about me that I'm too stupid to anticipate bad weather and put up the top in my Jeep when it's put upable, I love about me that I'm driving around in
winter coat, winter hat.
Yeah, freezing weather
ski
with
gloves.
Getting lots of looks at me. Sir, did you know there is a solution?
It's called that thing that's folded down in the back.
This isn't the 19.
Yeah, look, you have yours attached too.
Yeah.
I will say there is another Jeep in our neighborhood. I don't see the people drive it that much, but they park on the street and their top is down. I don't even know if they have a top for their Jeep, and it's not even it's not even a really old crappy one. It's not even that old.
From MASH or anything.
No, it's not that old. I've seen
You're gonna have to point it out. Maybe I gotta.
Yeah, it's really
compadre.
Yeah.
Maybe we can drive around in the winter together.
Yeah, I've seen like mounds of snow in it.
I like
Not mountains, mounds.
Yeah.
Sorry, I still have the nasally. But mounds of snow and leaf.
I like to blast
nice.
Christmas music in February when it's snowing on me.
Actually,
Not because I'm late or because I particularly love Christmas music, but because
it's funny.
it just adds to how stupid I look. And I love that
One
about
time
me.
we had a really rando snowstorm, and I think it was in the beginning of September in 2020. And yeah, it was because our preschool had reopened, and I was working there pretty heavily, not just as a sub, but pretty much full time because, you know, we're talking about 2020. And I was always sanitizing things and disinfecting with disinfecting guns and foggers and stuff. But it was
Foggers, those things are so stupid.
Yeah, but we
like
had this
wiping down
really
your
crazy
groceries.
snowstorm,
Yeah.
and it got really cold. Like it was it was 2 days after Labor Day weekend, and I had to call you because we were getting kids from cars and bringing them in, and I had to call you to bring me more clothes because I got stuck standing out there.
I remember that.
And there
too.
you come, you know, with your snow gear on, driving your Jeep, blasting Christmas music, and everybody was just looking at you, and I mean, of course, I rolled my eyes, but I laughed, and I thought that was hilarious.
That was a great scenario because even though you work there, I don't know all your coworkers. So I particularly love it when I look like an idiot in front of people I don't know very well. And it transfers to a little bit of, my God, you married that man to you. I do love that.
I mean, now in hindsight, it was Labor Day, you know, just past Labor Day. So it would make no sense for you to have the top up.
Yeah.
I mean, just for a quick drive like that. But it was hilarious that you had the Christmas music going.
Yeah. Well,
So.
I love this prompt. I love the switcheroo. I encourage everyone, make your list of things you hate about yourself. Switch it out. Put the word love there and see how that comes out for you. I do have to warn people, it doesn't work for everything. Yeah. There are, like, for instance, Jennifer, who led this switcheroo, you know, she, on her list was, I love that I wake up at 4 a.m. with a panic attack quite often. It doesn't work for that. Nobody loves panic attacks at 4 a.m. As a former alcoholic, I'm very experienced in panic attacks at 4 a.m. That's a big part of being an alcoholic. She is not one, but that's a big part of being an alcoholic. And so that's something that, you know, you got to roll up your sleeves and do some more serious work. A little writing prompt switcheroo is not going to help with that. For me, on my list was, I love the fact that I can see more and more of my forehead every day. It doesn't work for that. I don't know that there's something that will get me over my insecurity of my receding hairline. Actually, I do. A razor the day when I shave it and give up, because I often look in the mirror and go, is today razor day? Like, how bad is this? How stupid do I look? Open top Jeep in winter or not? How stupid do I look? I ask myself that a lot. But so yeah.
Well,
so
at least you don't just wear a baseball cap all the time like men your age. Like I think
more hair would fall out if I wore a baseball cap.
Well, exactly. Or like the men that, you know, like Bret Michaels, I think from Poison.
Oh, the
He
do-rag.
always wore that, yeah. But then he's like completely bald under it, but he has like the lower part of his hair. Or at least this was several years ago.
I like the golfer baseball cap tan myself.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
something
I just
should
meant
go
like
for.
you're not covering up the bald spot. Just
Yeah.
to show and think you have this luxurious, longer section of hair.
Sheri, I love this prompt so much that we're gonna do it with you right now, right here on the spot.
I didn't make a list.
I know. I made a list for you, but I'm gonna have you do some on the spot. Tell us some things that you hate about yourself that maybe we can say that you love about yourself. What you got? Anything? Because this is.
I know. Well, you.
How about if I throw one out to start and see if I can get the ball rolling?
Well, let me say I sometimes can be quick to judge.
Okay.
And a little quicker tempered.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Judgmental.
Yeah.
Temper. You hate that about yourself. Does that give you some insecurity?
Yeah, and I don't like that about myself.
Well, there are parts of it that I love about you. I love that I never have to wonder what you're thinking about someone when you and I are out in public and you can whisper in my ear. I never look at someone and think, gosh, I wonder what Sheri's opinion would be, because it's already coming in one of the oho or ear holes. Ohos, I think, are eyes. Yeah. So that semi works. What about your thin eyelids?
Well, I don't mind that. It's everybody
That's
else who's
crazy
creating a
that you don't mind that.
Everybody
Sheri,
else is the one that has a problem.
listeners. Somebody 2 blocks down the street can have a street or their front porch light on.
Dude, you write that
and
down.
And Sheri can't sleep in our bedroom with the blinds completely down and pulled. We laugh often about how lights make it so you can't sleep, and I always think, well, if your eyes are closed, how can you see that light that's way far away?
Do you love how much you exaggerate?
Exaggeration's one of my favorite things about me. I hate it.
No, when you go to the bathroom that's next to our bedroom and you turn the light on before you close the door, that will wake me up.
You have very sensitive eyelids. Yes. But I love that you love that about you.
Yeah.
Makes you aware, you're ready to go in case one of the kids needs you.
Well, and if a light comes on and like a security light and the light comes in, even though we have blinds, it's not like we live in a blackout cave.
What about
coffin?
What about dental stuff? Just the other day, I heard somebody talking about being a dental hygienist, and you were like, "Oh, I love dental hygienist stuff." You wanted to be that, that was on your list, short list.
Yes, that was my short list of career aspirations.
So most people hate dentistry.
I love getting my teeth cleaned. I love it, and it's been so long, but I love it.
I don't think this fits because I don't feel like you have any insecurity about it at all.
I don't. I love getting my teeth cleaned.
Well, that was a bad example.
Well, why would I have wanted to be a dental...
most people hate getting their teeth cleaned.
I know. There's a lot of people that...
I hate getting it, and you can love it for me. Let's see. What about talking? I know. Here's one. I know that you hate talking about your privately located tattoo. The tattoo that only the lucky few among us ever get to see. You probably don't want to talk about that right now. I'm sensing that based on your silence.
I don't think I ever called it my private secret. You're making it sound taboo tattoo. No, it just was meant for me. But it's not like it's in a weird spot. It's just on your hip bone.
Okay,
but it could be covered by a bathing suit.
Yeah.
Because when I got it, I didn't feel like I needed to flash my tattoo around. And
so since all of my suggestions were terrible, and since I gave you no time for prep, do you now have anything that would be on your list of things you hate about yourself that we can turn into something you love about you?
I don't do it regularly anymore, but sometimes I do compare how much you get done in a day compared to maybe how much I get done in a day. And I think, why am I not as productive as other people at times? And I do sometimes procrastinate on things. And I really don't like that about myself, the procrastination. Even though I know something is coming up. Example, this weekend, I didn't really know if this thing was going to take place, if we were going to have enough attendees. But I knew on Tuesday we were going to have enough attendees to not cancel the event. Yesterday I kind of did some work and but I didn't do a ton of prep for this thing on the weekend.
Procrastination.
So, I was I knew it was coming up and I could have been prepared long ahead.
Let me ask you this.
And then just put the stuff away if it didn't happen.
Do you ever fail because you aren't prepared?
I wouldn't say fail.
I wouldn't either. I can't think of a single time when you haven't pulled it off.
Maybe it's not the best.
So maybe that's something. Maybe that's a great example. You think you hate the fact that you procrastinate, but you know what? You have an internal timer. I believe this about especially people in middle age like you and I, got enough tread, worn off the tires. We know how long it takes to get shit done.
Yeah.
And we don't, you don't sometimes start until there's just enough time to get shit done. But you get your shit done with complete consistency. Yeah. So maybe that's a good example. You hate your procrastination, but really you love it. You love how you pull it off. You love how you come through. You love how you are reliable. Okay. Well, I love that about you too. Along with your memory, the fact that you like adult coloring books, how you get your claws out for your kids, how you love your cats, your cooking. I have lots of things I love about you, but I don't hate love them. I just love them.
Thank you.
Whew. Okay. Doesn't anyone in our listening audience have a kid in college who's a psychology major who could write a paper based on the results of our survey about attraction and relationship dynamics. We need people in the 18 to 29-year-old age group to take our survey. And if one of you has an adult kid in college who's got a bunch of friends, especially female friends, we need females to take this thing. Because we know, well, we don't. We don't know what the data is going to say. I don't mean to sound arrogant. But we think we know what the data is going to say. That's why we have hypothesis around it. And we need to test the hypothesis, and we need people to take it. So if you have a kid in college who might want, to partner with us in so much as they want a sneak peek at the data so they can write a paper and impress their professor and their classmates, hook us up, man. Hook us up. Have them and their friends take our survey at stigmasurvey.org. It's simple. You don't have to reveal any identifying characteristics. We just want to know what attracts people to each other, and we don't think that the traditional data, the pre-COVID data, is valid at all anymore because the world has changed so dramatically. I wrote my notes for this and realized you and I have a college student who is a psych major.
I was wondering, but I don't think that's his area.
I've actually asked him. He got a bunch of his friends to take the survey, so he did his part, but not from a educational, career standpoint.
Yeah.
Well, maybe somebody else has a 20-something kid that really would be interested in this topic. Stigmasurvey.org. Sheri, our topic today is, I'm going to use a quote that we hear quite often. I made myself, that's better when you say the one sentence quote without screwing up one of the words. I made myself smaller to cope. I made myself smaller to cope. That is something that I think will be very relatable for our audience, whether the listener is the loved one of an alcoholic or the drinker themselves. I made myself smaller to cope. That is a very relatable statement. From what we've learned, the loved ones, the people on your side of the fence, to a degree yourself included, Sheri, they grasp for firm control of anything they can. Like they completely take over the family responsibilities. And then they lament that. Like, why do I have to do everything around here? While at the same time, fighting for control of everything around here because they've lost trust and reliability in their alcoholic partner. So there's a little bit of a yin or yang there. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. So the loved ones often grasp for control of anything they can, family, household, cleaning. You and I knew somebody early on in doing this work. I didn't realize that this story was going to stick with me for so long, but it's a universalism that the loved ones of alcoholics, when things get bad, when they get traumatic, when they get unpredictable, they often turn to cleaning the house. I'm going to restore order somewhere in my life. And since my relationship has absolutely no predictability or order, I'm going to clean my house. You did that.
Yeah. I mean, and I did it as a little bit of a stress reliever,
Sure.
Post big arguments or keeping myself busy so then I wouldn't be just, and I don't think it was necessarily a conscientious decision, but I kind of look back and reflect and think, well, maybe I did it to prove that I'm not as bothered by this fight and this argument as, say, you were.
Well, it worked if you did that. That used to drive me crazy.
Were sit in self-pity for days, perhaps,
Sulk.
and sulk and eat and be slug-worthy. Oh, God.
I was worthy of a slug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also, it was a stress reliever for me. I felt better, and, sometimes depending on the argument and what insults were thrown around, I mean, it could have been, kicked off by, and you can't even keep the house tidy. I didn't have a dirty house, but we had messy sometimes because we had 4 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you would sometimes sling some of those insults around.
It used to frustrate me that you had a lot of half-done projects. So, the kitchen table would be full of stuff. It wasn't so much socks left on the floor.
It wasn't
that didn't
dirty.
happen. I never complained about that. But we met somebody early on when we were learning about this universalism who actually, used to paint a room in her house when things got tough, traumatic, chaotic in her alcoholic relationship. That is grasping control with both fists. Actually changing the trajectory of your home.
Yeah, I think they painted a mural. Started painting on a mural.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved her. I miss her. She was great. But that was a great example of this, this is how I'm going to cope. But I'm going to otherwise stay in my lane. Don't poke the bear. I'm walking on eggshells. My nervous system is in activation, so I'm on high alert, and like you used to separate yourself physically from me when I was drinking. We'd be in different rooms, different floors of our little 2-story house, or one story with a basement. So that was more about making yourself small, right? Like, hey, hopefully Matt won't see me, and if he doesn't see me, he won't say anything to get us rolling in some big, gross, awful argument.
Right.
Is that how it felt? Like making yourself small?
Yeah. Like you would walk in to the kitchen, and there was 2 entrances, and so I would maybe hear you coming up the stairs, and so I would go out the other end.
Oh, did you really?
To like maybe go in, and I would try to find ways not to be trapped in a room. Like the nursery would have made me trapped, and our bedroom would have made me trapped, and yeah. So sometimes I would just like listen for the footsteps. Good thing you're a heavy walker.
Yeah.
And like just try to like stay under you.
Yeah.
Like act like I was doing something in the laundry room.
Yeah.
Even though for the weirdest reason our family has just used our back staircase through the kitchen to get to the downstairs area. But we have 2 sets of staircases, one in the front of the house, one in the back. But I would like hardly ever go down that front staircase unless I was trying to avoid you.
Interesting. Yeah, so trying to stay small while at the same time trying to take control of the things you can take control of. That control that the loved ones tend to try to take control of, the household, cleaning, the stuff like that. That control in some cases, not in my case, if we're being honest, and we're always trying to be honest, that control leads some drinkers to shrink themselves. They find that their opinions are not wanted. They're not included in family things. They're not, asked where we should go for dinner, things like that. And so they tend to shrink, and also shrink because they're trying to hide their drinking. So what we've heard from a lot of drinkers is the fewer words that come out of my mouth, the less obvious it's going to be how much I've had to drink. And so I'm just going to kind of shrink away here.
Okay.
I mean, Sheri, how many couples have we met where the drinker comes home from work and he goes out and spends the evening in the garage?
Yeah.
Like I used to have a TV in that garage when we lived in St. Paul, but I would angle it so I could see the TV from the backyard so I could sit in the sun. That was not a shrinking situation.
No. Well, is that shrinking? Is that involved in shame? I mean, it's obviously trying to hide how much you drink to your partner if you're speaking to them. But if you're hiding in the garage and drinking, yes, that's partially an embarrassment and they don't want to keep it down. But is it a secret shame-filled sort of motive there too? Or could be.
I suppose when it's during active drinking, I think the drinking is what alleviates the feelings of shame. So if it's during active drinking, I think it's more an attempt to avoid conflict than it is to manage the shame. The alcohol is what you're using to manage the shame. You're just trying to, just like, we talked about the ways that you tried not to poke the bear. I think if you have a partner who has boundaries and hates your drinking, you're going to try to stay away from those claws as much as you can. And it causes, and also your opinion's not wanted. And that's been made very clear. I don't care what you think about what the family should do on the weekend. I don't care what you think about what restaurant we should go to. I didn't ask. It's not, I don't care what you think about what we're having for dinner, whatever, stuff like that. So I think, again, this is not me. I think I've proven that words are not something that is in short supply for me very often. This is not a way that I showed up in active alcoholism as someone who tried to get smaller. I definitely did when I was in shame and when I was in those periods post-drinking episode when I felt bad about what I did, then I would definitely quietly shrink in like our bedroom and sit on the bed and just sulk, like you said earlier. So I guess there was an aspect of that to me. But there are people that get really stuck in this kind of shrinking mode. And so finding their voice becomes a huge part of their recovery process. Way back, we had one of the early glimpses of this was 5 years ago. Intoxicated Podcast, episode 61 with your good friend Tracy. And her quote that we reference quite frequently, now that he's sober, it turns out he has opinions. That's how she felt when her husband, who had done some shrinking, was trying to find his voice in recovery. And so that's a conflicting period. I mean, yes, you want your partner to be sober, but you're supposed to relinquish all this control that you've worked so hard to grasp and pull in. And I'm sure there are people listening to this going, just because I did everything around the house doesn't mean it was a control thing. Okay. I mean, that feels like a little bit of denial for me. I understand that if you don't do it, nobody else is going to. So I'm not saying control from the standpoint of you were bad, naughty. You grasped all this control. You did it because you had to. It was a natural reaction. That's why you began to have kind of an unhealthy association with control as well. Does that all make sense, Sheri?
Yeah, and I want to maybe control necessarily isn't always the right word in that case, because it does have a little bit of a negative connotation with it.
It does, you're right.
So there is this...
How about bitchery? Is that better? No, it's not better. That was a good look.
Thanks. This feel this need to do it because like you said, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. And it also, I think with those sort of things, like it makes me think like, you'd only count on yourself sort of slogan, and, don't trust anybody to do anything for you. Or if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Those sort of things. Those are things that pop into your mind when you see your partner sulking for a whole weekend after an argument on Friday night, when you've got 4 kids that you need to take care of and get to places on the weekends, and you got chores to do. Like in our case, I'd be like, I can't rely on him for things. I can't count on him to fold this fucking laundry even though he's sitting in bed watching a movie. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I often feel like my slogan was, if you want something done, do it yourself, or don't rely on others. But I never saw it like it was a control thing. It was I need to do this because this is part of the chores of the house, and I'm the only one that's looking at doing it.
Yeah. And
he's going to give me a million reasons why he can't do it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the pushback. The word control might be a little bit offensive, and the last thing I want to do is use a word that's mildly offensive and therefore turns people off and has them say, I didn't do that. This podcast, this episode isn't meaningful to me. But so it is out of necessity. I think that's fair.
I think there's a varying degree. It's a spectrum. Because then there are people that maybe had to do all the finances because their alcoholic partner was so unreliable and so irresponsible, or they needed to take control of the credit card and the purchases because of the drinking and the expenses that went along with drinking.
The out of control spending.
The out of control spending. So they had to. And then when there is sobriety back in the relationship and they're trying to build this trust, relinquishing that, trying to regain that trust is really hard because it's been done for such a certain... It's been so ingrained in pattern because there is that lack of trust. So I think that when there is a lack of trust about something that's extreme and like that, then control might be
the right word. So if you go ahead.
I just thought of this, and I know that we have both sides of the parties listening,
right?
And I don't want to feel like I'm justifying situations where there maybe is more control. But this is just giving a mindset to the alcoholic partner of what happens to a person when there is all this chaos and things that are out of control in the relationship, and they have to step in and do the things. So they also need to give their sober partner a lot of leeway and a lot of gratitude in a lot of ways for these things that were being taken care of and done.
Yeah.
And instead of like being negative about it, you can offer a little bit of thanks and say, I really hope that we get to this point one day that I can be trusted to help with this.
Let's get into that and let's talk about that in much greater detail. I think that's a huge point. We're going to talk about how to reconcile finding your voice when you've made yourself small in recovery. Reconcile that with safely navigating the needs of your partner. I'll tell you one thing, here's a tease. The bull in the china shop approach is not going to work. If your partner says he's sober, it turns out he has opinions. The response to that isn't, yeah, and let me tell you about all my opinions, and we're going to change the way we do things around here. That is not going to work. We're going to talk about some things that will. But first, we're going to talk to you about our sponsors. We are sponsored by SoberLink. SoberLink is the premier remote alcohol monitoring system, combining cutting-edge technology with compassionate design to support accountability in recovery and family law. Sheri, I hate it when I'm listening to a podcast, either for pure entertainment or when I'm learning something interesting.
Like learning how to keep your shedding gorilla hair out of the shower drain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, learning. I hate it when I'm learning or just laughing. Either way, I hate it when I'm listening to a podcast and they insert some random ad read, like a podcast hosted by a comedian interviewing a comedian with an ad for cryptocurrency or something like that. How does that fit? Or a podcast about mental health with a beer sponsorship?
We get sponsor offers from cannabis products on this podcast where we talk about the dangers of transferred addictions and shortcuts for the recovered work. It's annoying, isn't it?
It is. Yes, we do. And we are very particular about the sponsors with whom we partner. We want to be part of the solution. So when we get behind a company, it has to share our mission to destigmatize the world of recovery and discovery. That's why we love SoberLink so much. SoberLink is a big part of the solution. Listen, the key to addiction recovery for the drinker or the loved one is self-confidence. And self-confidence comes from consistency. And consistency is driven by accountability. SoberLink is not a gotcha device. SoberLink is all about accountability. Right now, SoberLink is offering Untoxicated podcast listeners a free offer ID valid for a $100 enrollment bonus. You can grab your offer ID and save it, and you'll have it when you're ready to ask for help with accountability in your relationship recovery or co-parenting situation.
That's a $100 enrollment bonus for SoberLink's best-in-class service and product combination with built-in facial recognition, tamper detection, expert in-house support, email daily, weekly, or monthly reporting that's court admissible in all 50 states and Canada, unlimited testing days, and scheduled testing days to build in that accountability and trust.
Enroll when and if you are ready, but right now, while this offer is still available, grab one of SoberLink's offer IDs for Untoxicated podcast listeners for a $100 enrollment bonus. There's never been a better time to check out SoberLink.
That is on top of the fact that SoberLink now allows new customers to pay a monthly service charge, maybe as low as $19 per month with a qualifying monitoring plan. That's like rather than paying that big upfront cost to purchase the device.
Claim your offer ID for a $100 enrollment bonus. There's no commitment required to claim your offer ID while this promotion lasts, and you can use your $100 enrollment bonus when you are ready to place your order. Claim your offer ID. To do that, you will not be asked to provide your name or email address. You will only, I've only read this 1,000 times. You will only be asked to provide your name and email address, no personal details, no commitment, and no credit card number. To claim your offer ID for your $100 enrollment bonus, please go to soberlink.com/untoxicated. We are supported by Defining You. We all know how deeply alcoholism impacts not just the drinker, but the people who love the drinker the most. Living with someone struggling with alcohol can take a toll on your own health and well-being, and it's easy to lose yourself in the process.
But your health and wellness matters too, and Kathy, with Defining You, knows this firsthand. When the world around her became uncontrollable, Kathy's health was seriously impacted. And now, 3 years later, she has taken back her health and is helping others who often put themselves last and put them first.
That's right. Kathy is helping people who have had their health impacted by stress, trauma, to feel stronger, healthier, and more at peace. Defining You is not only a podcast covering a variety of topics based on real-life experiences, but Kathy also offers wellness coaching programs to help loved ones of alcoholics reclaim their energy, confidence, and joy. She gets what you're going through, and together, through simple personalized programs, Kathy helps shift your focus on restoring balance, improving your sleep, losing weight, boosting your energy, and helping you feel like yourself again, even in the middle of life's challenges.
Your health and peace of mind matter, and taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. You don't have to stay stuck in survival mode. You can rise, heal, and thrive.
If you are ready to feel better inside and out, email Kathy at definingyouconnection@gmail.com to schedule a complimentary consultation. Pardon me. You can also find Kathy and Defining You on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Listen to the Defining You podcast everywhere you find your favorite podcast. Okay, so we are talking about finding your voice in recovery. Often, the partners grasp for, we use the word control, or out of necessity, they grasp for the decision making, and that leaves less room for the drinkers, and they struggle to re-engage in sobriety. Also, often, the loved ones spend so much time walking on eggshells that they have to find their voice and feel comfortable expressing themselves in sobriety. So, this changing relationship dynamic of trying to find your voice after making yourself small, it's a very difficult situation, and it is one of the main reasons why we say sobriety doesn't fix anything. It's only a prerequisite. I thought for sure, Sheri, I would get sober and life would just be kumbaya, and you and I would be having sex 12 times a day and just eating in the fanciest restaurants and taking private jets to the south of France.
Because you're such a spendthrift.
I just thought sobriety was going to be the best.
Yeah.
And it turns out all it does is rip off that Band-Aid and expose the wound. And so one of the wounds is changing relationship dynamics, the control or the doing the things out of necessity, however you want to look at that. It just changes, and it's a big thing to work through. As we talk about this, I want to give a big, huge caution about scorekeeping. This is something you and I have talked a lot about, whether on the podcast or just with each other. If the partner of the alcoholic is used to making all the decisions, part of the healing and relationship recovery process does not mean that relationship dynamic needs to get to 50-50. It doesn't have to go to, you used to make all the decisions, now I'm going to make half and you're going to make the other half. It just doesn't work that way. I know scorekeeping is something that you are, not a fan of. Is that fair to say?
I'm not a fan of, yes, but I do it to an extent sometimes. Like when I'm feeling like low self-esteem.
Is that are you referring to, you talked about earlier when we were doing the things you love/hate about yourself, the fact that you look at how much work you do versus how much I do, that's a scorekeeping piece for you.
Yeah.
And so you, even though you engage in that behavior, it's something you recognize as something to work on.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I just get it from a lot of different, I can see now being, so distanced from alcohol and, I can see that it's something that I have compared myself work output compared to you over the years. Maybe it's because there have been some jabs here and there. And it's not like you ever discounted the mothering job as a negative, but when we would be in our bakery business together, I would maybe talk with the customers and a little bit more than you would like, and you're like, you are only putting out this many loaves and I'm doing twice the work, or you're not keeping on pace, and
Part of that was some good-natured teasing with our other employees. Like, there goes Sheri up to the front. We've lost her for half an hour, because she'll have conversations. Really, I shouldn't have teased you. That was on me, and I own that. But I loved it. I liked that you were so outgoing and chatty with the customers. I thought it was good for our business.
Instead of the curmudgeon behind the...
Yeah. What do you want? Get it yourself, will you?
Working from the kneading table, yelling up to the customers.
Let me know when you're ready to pay, okay? I'm not coming up there until you get your credit card out.
I did hear you say, let me know when you're ready. Instead of like, how can we help you today? What are you up to?
Yeah, once an asshole, always an asshole. Yeah.
Like, you just kept much more on task. Like, your mindset was the production piece of it, and mine was the community and creating these relationships with the customers to keep them coming back. You were like, we have to have everything out so then the customers can buy the stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that was one time you said, well, if nobody's making the product, then how are the customers going to have anything to buy?
Yeah. Yeah, there was probably a happy medium in there somewhere that was elusive to me.
I wasn't a slow worker.
You weren't. You were an ass kicker. And honestly, I did love it, watching you up there chatting people up. It was great.
But I also know that when I'm feeling low and I'm feeling like maybe insecure about my jobs that I've had over the years, or how much my income has compared to yours when we had careers outside of this nonprofit and church work. I'm gonna tell you, folks, doesn't pay a whole lot.
Church work doesn't?
Church
I think
work,
you're making headline
preschool
news here.
work, like, it doesn't pay.
Teaching and church?
You
combine teaching and church? Well,
I mean, some people think it's a big money maker, but let me tell you,
I guess
you
there's
do it for the love.
Corrupt mega church thing, but that's not exactly.
But I would often compare myself financial too.
Yeah.
Well, that was way back in the early 20s or late 20s and early 30s days. So.
You mean we were 20, not the
1920s. 1920s. Right in the middle of the Great Depression. I'm comparing.
Nah, see? Meow. Okay, so that's a great example. Let's offer some other examples. If a partner expresses a resentment about your drinking, so if you, Sheri, say, Matt, I want to talk to you about this thing that happened back when you were drinking. I need to explain this to you. I need you to understand what I was going through. I don't have to, again, this 50-50 thing, I don't have to, while you're doing that, say, oh yeah? Well, what about your reaction? What about your oversized reaction to my drinking? You're upset that I drank too much and I don't know, I did something obnoxious? Well, how about the way you yelled and screamed at me when I did that obnoxious thing? Yeah, we're even, 50-50, scorekeeping. Mm-hmm. One for me, one for you. That's an awful way to handle a resentment processing situation. So it's important to stay away from scorekeeping. That makes sense to you too, right? Being a good listener means shut the hell up when your partner is telling you something important.
And I mean, also, this is one of those pieces where having the alcohol be the third person in the relationship and blaming the alcohol really helps depersonalize the comment that was the resentment, mm-hmm. perhaps. You only acted this way because you were drinking, but it really, really upset me, and I need to tell you about it. Mm-hmm. The alcoholic who's listening can depersonalize it, saying, okay, it is evident that I was drinking during this, incident. So that was not the real me that I want to be. Depersonalized.
Depersonalized can lead to just less shame.
Yeah.
I don't have to feel terrible about this.
And you don't have to then start to defend it and make yourself, because the shame is going to lead to the defensive action.
True.
Or the withdrawal.
True.
And then they're like, I can't handle any resentment processing.
Well, this talk about finding your voice, the comeback, the resurgence, the revival from making yourself small, this is a great opportunity to talk about the fourth aspect of a topic I've been talking a lot about, which is emotional masculinity. When we talk about emotional masculinity, so far we've talked about leading and providing and protecting. When I say leading in an emotionally masculine way, we're talking about leading intimate conversations. When we talk about providing in an emotionally masculine way, we're talking about providing an emotionally safe home environment. When we talk about protecting, we're talking about protecting the family from emotional abuse and those little hits to self-worth that take place, not only for the partner, but for the kids too, the family. If you want to hear more about those initial 3 concepts related to emotional masculinity, lead, provide, and protect, we encourage you to listen to just a few weeks ago, episode 318 of the podcast. We're going to talk today, we're going to introduce today a 4th aspect of emotional masculinity, which is sacrifice. So let's jump right into an example. Sheri, you like to use our HVAC system, both in the spring, fall, winter, and summer. Not both, in all 4 of those seasons. I would rather sit in our little brick house and deal with a range of temperature anywhere from, like, let's say 55 degrees at a minimum up to 90 degrees as a maximum in the house with that HVAC switched off. And, just bundle up there, Buttercup, when it gets cold. And I would rather do that to save on energy and, furnace filters and maintenance costs.
Money.
Because
And then when it's 90, just let it all hang out.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Just slip a
walk
nip.
around,
Just
yeah.
come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always good in the neighborhood setting. But
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I have
like
a much wider comfort range for temperature if it means not burning natural gas, basically, than you do. But you, being
normal.
being the normal person that you are, you have a little bit tighter range. Like I'm going to say from like 65 in the winter to 65 would be pretty cold. 66, 67.
I don't know, sometimes, I can throw a sweatshirt on. In the fall when you get those chilly mornings, but you don't want to kick it on, the heat, because it seems silly. I've let the house get down to like 65, 66.
Yeah.
That 66, 65 is about as low as I'll go.
What's our top? Like when we're getting 75, 76.
75, 76.
Thing's getting kicked on, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we got the ceiling fans too, so that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are more energy efficient. Sheri, I want to give you permission in front of God and everybody to use those ceiling fans as much as you want.
Part of the problem is, like, we don't open the windows and leave the windows open at night to let the cooler air in when it can be with this brick house. Like, that's why a lot of the places that we looked at 21 years ago to buy didn't have, an HVAC. I didn't even know that's what it was called. I thought it was a central air unit, but...
Heating, ventilation, air conditioning.
Okay.
That's what HVAC stands for.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there, I learned something new. I've heard of it. I use it, we have an HVAC system we talk about.
So you prefer a tighter range of temperature.
Yeah.
And I sacrifice. Now listen, and again, this is not supposed to be an episode about scorekeeping. Listen, wait a second. This is important. I have a whole list of ways I sacrifice. And I'm going to talk about every damn one of them. And it isn't because I'm a martyr. It isn't because I want everyone to feel sorry for me. In fact,
everybody buckle up, Buttercup. We're going to have to listen to the sacrifice. Matt makes. Okay, let's hear
that isn't the purpose. The purpose is that sacrifice is an aspect of emotional masculinity that I can engage in with a great deal of pride, and it becomes a self-esteem builder. It becomes a self-confidence builder. It becomes a huge part of my recovery, while at the same time helping my family.
Okay. If you want to use the word sacrifice, I'm okay with that. In this podcast, I think that for the relationship's sake, you should maybe use the word, I'm compromising and I'm trying to work with you. But I understand, I know, you and I have talked about this all outside of the podcast, so I'm just giving you some good ribbons.
The majority
But I don't want anybody to, like, take this and be like, throw it in your face, I'm sacrificing for you.
The majority of our
Keep your fucking lips shut. Sorry.
The majority of our listeners are women, and I already know I'm on thin ice here with this emotional masculinity thing. I know they're already like, all right, listen, where's the misogyny coming in? We don't, masculinity is a scary word. I get that. But here's the thing. You can't expect something that's ingrained in half of the population and has been for literally thousands or millions of years through genetics, through conditioning, through tradition. You can't expect that to just disappear overnight and not be a part of our culture. But you can redirect it to something more positive. And so toxic masculinity is a dirty word, and it's a bad thing. And I see examples of it all the time, and I'm not promoting that. But I am saying, just like we can't expect women to stop being nurturers, we can't expect men to not have an ingrained desire to express masculinity. We can just help men adjust how they express it.
Yeah, I know.
Like through sacrifice. Which don't, okay. So good
some
point.
of the
Good point. Don't run, if you're a recovering alcoholic, don't run home and say, I listened to this podcast, wife. I want to tell you about all my sacrifices and I want you to be proud of me. No, that's not what this is. This is an internal. Yes.
Keep it to yourself.
This is an internal thing. But if you are a female and you have a recovering alcoholic husband, I want you to understand this is, just like I completely validate when a woman prioritizes her kids over her husband. And you and I have owned a zillion times on this podcast that you love our kids more than me. I get that. It's good. It's healthy. It's right. It's what should be. Just like I validate that. I also think there is room for, like you said, keep it to yourself, for a guy to listen to this and embrace the concept and try to live it without bragging about it.
Yeah.
Do I often brag to you that I have a higher tolerance for heat in the summer than you do?
No, and I know you do, because this little recording studio is either real hot in the summer, and I'm sure some of our podcasts from the summer, you hear me melt by the end of it. I can't even speak. I'm so hot. Or in the winter, I'm like teeth shattering. But so you don't mind that, and you don't sacrifice, but we comment about it in a joking way.
Well, let me give another example.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that you use this area as your office in the, when it's between 66 and 76, I'll be in here.
Yeah.
Using quote unquote what was supposed to be my office.
That's right.
But I have another office outside the building now, outside of our house. So I appreciate that.
Let me give a few more examples. We went to Indiana recently, and it wasn't like a vacation, like a annual bring the kids to see the grandparents kind of a thing. It was a work trip, preparing your mother's house for sale, dealing with aged parents, which I think a lot of people can relate to. You flew out in advance, and then when my schedule freed up, I drove out, and it's a 16-hour drive, supposed to be. Cut a little time off when I was by myself.
Yeah, don't sacrifice breaking your arm, patting yourself
That's
on the
a
back.
whole other topic if we want to talk about, the Kessel run in 4.7 parsecs or whatever. Anyway, I drove out, and it's a 2-day drive that I did in one day, and there was a great feeling, a satisfactory feeling of sacrifice in that for me, because I knew I was making your life just a smidge easier. That felt really good to me. So that's a place where I think sacrifice is an appropriate word. I didn't rub it in your face. I didn't tell you, look how much better than you I am, or look what I did for your mother. I didn't do any of that. It just was an internal self-confidence booster, helpful for folks in recovery. I feel like I made a sacrifice. Is that fair?
That is fair.
Okay.
And I did drive back with you. So
you did.
I did make it longer.
Now don't do some scorekeeping.
I was just going to say I did make your return trip longer because of my need to go to the bathroom.
I didn't just pee in a juice jug all the way home the way I did all the way out. I can own that. Anyway, if our kids growing up, if they had later in the evening or earlier in the morning drop-offs or pickups. Like, for instance,
wrestling.
A few of our kids wrestled, and the wrestling bus for an all-day combo event,
I mean, if you have a swimmer,
leaves at like 5:15 in the morning
they
sometimes.
know this hockey, they know this awful shit time starts.
Or, anytime it was a late night bus coming back. Now, overall, you drove the kids more than me. But for me, there was a feeling of sacrifice of being the one that, wasn't in cozy pajama time because I had to go get the kids still in the top-down Jeep in February, which they loved getting in after being on a cozy bus. Oh, goody, Daddy's here to pick me up.
But you got to have that open-top Jeep picking up a wrestler or a football player late at night. Ooh, did they stink?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm sure those hockey kids stink, too.
Yeah.
At least the swimming kids are all clean from the chlorine.
But being the one that did the more kind of less desirable driving of the kids,
times.
The less overall, but also the less desirable, that gave me a feeling of sacrifice. I felt good about that. I eat the leftovers in our house. If our kids are home on the weekend or a day off of school and it's lunchtime, they are going to go, the first thing they're going to do is look for a frozen pizza or macaroni and cheese in the cupboard because those are their go-tos. They don't ever...
Or make an omelet that's got like the good ham. There's always, quote unquote, some good ham. They like make something fresh and new instead of like, oh, what can I scrap out?
Yeah, they don't crack the lid on that Tupperware unless we've had we grilled steak on a Saturday night, then Sunday after church that they're going to find that steak. But
and I appreciate that you eat the leftovers.
But I eat I still think it's delicious, but less desirable stuff. Again, this is the same as the HVACs. It's like, I'm just cheap.
I was going to say,
if I don't eat it, it's eventually going to get thrown away, and that's going to piss me off, so I just eat it.
It is funny, though, I can tell when you don't like something. You're never vocal about it, but if that is a leftover, it sits.
Yeah.
Because some things just don't agree with you. Taste isn't an issue with you.
No.
I've seen some of the trough meals you've eaten, but if it doesn't agree with your stomach, it still sits there for a while.
Yeah. But
I've been working on that.
But I will pull something out and it will give me a warm, like literally warm feeling of sacrifice / leading to self-confidence, knowing that I'm eating this thing that nobody else is going to touch. It's just going to sit here for a week until it gets thrown away.
Unless Nick, our oldest son, is in town and in the house. He is definitely your son. He is frugal to the max.
Yeah,
and he is a leftover eater. He and you will be on the verge of like, that needs to get thrown away. No, you can't cut that much of the mold away from the lump of cheese.
I remember when he was little, I blame this on my mother, because when he was little and we would they'd be here visiting and we'd go on like a family walk around the park, he and my mother would find trinkets of garbage on the side of their walking path.
Found
they called them treasures, and those two would be excited about, I don't know, like a broken necklace that was just, oh, look at this. I should have known that Nick would be the scavenger. But that also makes him a good leftovers eater, which I just love. Mm-hmm. So, it's just, those are the examples that I had prepared. It's just really important that we recognize that it's not about scorekeeping.
Oh, wait, I can think of one. And it's not like I can't take out the garbage. It's a very traditional male role in the household. But whenever there's something really gross in the bottom of the bin, the outside bins, I take care of the inside bins. But if there's something gross, you are the one that will spray it out.
Yeah, and I mostly do that because I know it's going to bother you.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really so much
And I have a
me.
really sensitive sniffer, so and as I've aged, I can see that's part of my menopausal sort of stuff, is I can throw up really easily if something is really smelly gross.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking one for the team.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So super important that this idea of sacrifice as part of emotional masculinity is not about scorekeeping. When we talk about finding your voice and getting away from the shrinking, it's just so important that finding your voice doesn't mean some kind of arbitrary equality, that really it's not going to benefit your relationship to demand, I get to pick the restaurant because you picked it last time. Now, for you and I, the nice thing is we eat out so
Never have
infrequently,
that.
nobody remembers the last time we ate at a
Or
restaurant.
we don't even know where the fuck to go because we're like, there's restaurants around here.
Or
What are these
the
things?
the last 10 we ate at closed. So over the last 2 decades, so we'd have to pick something we'd never been to before anyway. Yeah.
Or we would go to a place and it's something different. So,
Yeah. So a great way to find your voice if you're the former alcoholic is to sacrifice. And you don't have to make it known. It can just be part of, your internal recovery. There's 2 caveats I want to add to this. The libido caveat is one of them. And what I mean by that is we don't need the relationship to be 50-50. We don't need scorekeeping. But, it's not great if the lower libido partner listens to this podcast and then constantly hits their partner with, you need to sacrifice. That's part of your recovery. I don't want to have sex. I never want to have sex. So you just kind of take that one on the chin. Intimacy, that's done right. We've talked about the sex sequence, starts with emotional safety, then moves on to emotional intimacy and results in sexual intimacy. That is an important part of self-esteem. That is an important part of relationship recovery if done right. Not the Nike swish, just do it bullshit. Not suggesting that. But if the conditions are right, it's okay for the person trying to find their voice, the alcoholic in recovery or whoever it might be, to move toward and hope for and work toward a little bit, I don't know if I'd say equitable distribution, but you and I talk about sex. We talk about who wants what, how we're feeling. You made the joke the last time we talked about this that it's pretty easy for you to know what I want because I always want it. But, and again, I'm not suggesting that in the libido realm, scorekeeping is better, but it's really bad if you throw in your partner's face, hey, I thought you were supposed to be working on your recovery. Why don't you do a little sacrificing? I'll let you know in a couple of months when we're going to have sex again. Not so good.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I agree with that. And I also think that just a reminder that emotional safety piece that has to start first is showing a level of respect of what you're willing to do in the bedroom with your partner at a certain time. Like it can vary and change and ebb and flow. Maybe it's been a rough couple of weeks and you had normally been doing really, really well. And so the sexual relationship was getting healthier and better. Bam, 2 weeks of really rocky road. And then you're like, hey, alcoholic partner says, hey, or the person with the higher libido who, going to have sex. Let's go back to that sexy time we were doing a couple weeks ago. Well, you're not there.
Got to rebuild. And there has to be a level of respect of what you find comfortable. And I don't know, like I'm a day-to-day kind of change it kind of person. I can't eat the same sandwich every day for lunch. But I also know that sometimes I'm going to like something and then maybe we've done it and a couple times and then boom, I don't like it that time. Get your hands off. I don't want it. And respect my no. Yeah. Respect my no is good.
Yeah.
But also don't throw sacrifice up in my face.
But I'm not going to make you feel bad about it. And I can say, hey, it was working for a while, but right now I'm just not into that.
That's great. That's the libido caveat. The other caveat I want to mention is the whatever you want is fine with me caveat. Ugh, that's right. And that's
the smaller
this
voice.
Is a mystery.
That's the shrinking. That's
right. This is mystery time for a lot of people who have done some shrinking and are trying to find their voice. We think that we are doing our partner such a favor by saying, you make all the decisions, whatever you want is fine with me. And what I have realized is you want me to participate in the decision. And this even applies to times when I really, truly, genuinely just do not give a single shit about what the decision is. The color we're going to paint the office or whatever, that's one I don't care. But, if you come to me and you say, these are the 2 finalists, which one do you like better? If I say I don't care, that's not helpful. You're asking for help at that point because you are struggling. And being the constant decision maker, there's struggle in that. having to always make all the decisions.
Yeah, decision fatigue.
Yeah.
And that's oftentimes what has happened in the relationship when the alcoholic has been in the drinking phases and maybe binges and cycles. Like there is no help. And so all the decisions rely upon the sober person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they're married to someone who's more of a controlling drinker. Like you were. I think your OCD needed you to be in charge of a lot of things. But if it would come
but then the things that I didn't care about, I thought I was such a gentleman by sharing.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
But you didn't want that. You wanted participation. Mm-hmm. Not taking over, not demanding, but participation.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super important. All right. So the sacrifice of emotional masculinity, it lets us temper our voice in service of our family. As a drinker, I used to serve a toxin, and now I serve you and the kids, and we all have to serve something. So I think it's just really important to have that kind of be part of your attitude, don't you think?
Yeah. As you were speaking this first sentence, and I kind of said sacrifice just kind of feels martyrism in a way. Maybe it's a servitude, sort of.
Servitude?
Yeah.
Did you just make that up, or have you heard that?
I don't know. That's the word that popped into my head.
Servitude. I like that.
To serving your partner, serving your family, serving yourself by doing these things and being selfless in a way.
Yeah.
To taking on those roles that maybe nobody else really wants to, or your partner has done it. I don't know. It just was a weird word that popped into my head when you were talking about the sacrifice. But they are sacrifices, and we all sacrifice. But I think it's very important to remind the listeners about the scorekeeping.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of things that women do that sacrifice. I mean, we get lower pay in a lot of jobs because we're not willing to maybe sacrifice all of our free time and just travel when they need us or whatever.
Yeah.
We've sacrificed our bodies. we've maybe, sacrificed a lot of things to keep the family intact, thinking, like with our case, I felt like I knew there would have been a level that I could have no longer taken with your drinking because it affected the family and the kids so much. But I also sacrificed and stayed and did some protecting because I knew that you weren't at my level of discomfort and disdain yet.
Yeah, I think this is so important. I am so glad we didn't hit the stop record button without talking about the sacrifice of the loved ones, of the women, because, it's just automatic with that nurturing component, the amount of sacrifice that you have given to our relationship and our family. It's unbelievable. And I'm not suggesting, again, no scorekeeping. I'm not suggesting that men need to equal women's sacrifice or that they need to overcome women's sacrifice. I'm just saying men can use sacrifice as a tool to follow a masculine instinct and do so in a way that helps the partner in the family and helps with recovery and self-confidence. And so it's not me saying because let's suggest sacrifice over here, that diminishes the sacrifice over there. Not at all.
Right.
There's no question but that the unbelievable sacrifice that the partners of alcoholics make. And I thank you for making sure we acknowledge that. It's really great. Now, follow your instinct to be part of the solution. Please help us find people in the 18 to 29 age range to take our survey about attraction and relationship dynamics. Send a link to those youngins to the survey. That's stigmasurvey.org. Send that to all the college students you know. And while you're at it, take the survey yourself at any age, as long as that age is over 18. Thank you for listening to the Untoxicated Podcast. You've got this, and we've got you.